Hey guys, welcome back to Tunes and Chapters, where we dive into the world of anime, manga, and video game entertainment. On this podcast, we don't just look at the epic sagas that may have defined the generation, we also try to look at those little hidden gems that may have fallen into obscurity over the years, but still have a small, loyal following to this day. The ones that have a memorable storyline, or unforgettable characters, or even incredible artwork. The ones that stand out and become memorable masterpieces. So come join us in a world where pixels and prose join together to become one. This is Chiptunes and Chapters. Today we're journeying back to the mid-90s to have a look at one of the most beloved and influential swords-and-sorcery animes of all time. It's a show that basically wrote the book on blending over-the-top magical battles with brilliant self-aware humour. I'm talking of course about the Slayers anime. This well-known series pretty much defined the entire subgenre of hot-blooded wizard girls causing chaos and destruction. So get ready to be introduced or reintroduced to the Sorcery Supreme, Lena Inverse, and her band of misfits. We'll have a dig into what made Slayers such a revolutionary and wildly entertaining anime that still casts a huge shadow over the fantasy genre today. So let's strap in and get into the full review of the brilliant Slayers series.
Try again.
Before we jump into the review, I just want to give a quick spoiler warning. I'll do my best to avoid any major spoilers, but keep in mind I'm only human, I do make mistakes, and this is a retrospective review, so some minor plot details will be discussed during the review. Nothing too earth-shattering, but if you're going in completely fresh, just be aware that there may be some mild spoiler territory that I will go into as I look at the show's strengths and weaknesses. So with that out of the way, let's get into my thoughts on the Slayers series. Slayers is a fantasy anime series that originally aired from 1995 to 1997 and was based on the manga of the same name. It follows the exploits of the powerful and brash Sorcery Supreme Lena Inverse and her companions as they journey across a richly realised world that's filled with magic, monsters, and plenty of chaos and destruction. A lot of it is usually caused by Lena's own excessive power and incredibly short fuse. What immediately draws you into the world of Slayers is just how expansive and fleshed out the fantasy setting really is. It really takes the classic tropes of swords and sorcery tales and kind of adds its own unique spin by making magic an extremely powerful force that's, well, really deeply integrated into pretty much every aspect of life. The extensive lore surrounding different schools of magic, ancient dragons, lost relics, and even more is incredibly deep and well developed over the course of the series' many storylines. At the centre of it all is our protagonist, Lena Inverse, who is brought to life with fantastic and incredibly expressive voice acting and animation. She's an elite sorceress with an unparalleled mastery of offensive black magic spells, but also a rough, money-hungry attitude that almost always gets her into hot water. That being said, she's also very resourceful, using her wits and abilities to get her out of many tricky situations, albeit often causing massive collateral damage in the process. Her banter and conversations with the skilled but incredibly dim-witted swordsman protector Gary Gabriev is also pure comedy gold. That being said, the expansive cast extends far beyond just Lena and Gary, with a lovable and memorable ensemble of characters that make up their family of adventurers. There's the stoic and often depressed shaman Zelgadis, who primarily seeks to cure his chimera condition, the overeager, immature crown princess Amelia, who seeks to uphold justice, and the enigmatic trickster Zelos, who proves to be both a frenemy and a valuable ally. Each character is very distinct and brings their own unique personality and backstory to create a constantly entertaining dynamic within the group. Slayers absolutely revels in its zany humour and comedic antics, but that being said, the series also has surprising narrative depth with compelling overarching plot threads and character arcs that are woven throughout the series. In the first season, there's your classic epic quest storyline as the gang seeks to recover and protect a powerful relic and artifact from falling into the wrong hands before it gets misused. These adventures provide a central driving force while also allowing for plenty of detours into self-contained episodes and some hilarious misadventures. As the series progresses though, the stakes continue to increase higher and higher. Lena soon finds herself embroiled in conflicts with powerful demonic foes from other worlds and planes of existence. She faces off against nefarious threats like Hellmaster Fabrizzo, who seeks to remake all of existence, and the powerful demon king Chaos Dragon Garv, whose power could easily destroy the world. These more dramatic story arcs provide an epic sense of scale and emotional stakes to complement the lighter comic moments. Where Slayers truly shines through, though, is its ability to balance that overarching sense of adventure and high stakes with its consistently brilliant and self-aware comedic writing. From Lena's constant angry outbursts and comically excessive uses of force, to the sheer amount of property damage that's caused by her supremely powerful and visually spectacular spellcastings, to her hilarious banter with the trickster Zealous, the laugh-out-loud moments never cease. There's an almost Monty Python-esque sense of humour to it that makes even the most serious story beat a constant joy to watch unfold. That being said, you can't really discuss the Slayer series without marvelling at the impressive quality of its animation, especially for the mid-90s when it was initially produced. The richly detailed supernatural fantasy worlds and the environments are both brought to life with a level of artistic flair and kinetic animation that still holds up incredibly well even decades later. More than anything, it's the action scenes of the big magical battles and clashes that are the true standout visually. The intense and creatively choreographed fights seamlessly blend traditional medieval-style swordsmanship with overwhelmingly powerful arcane spell effects, making for a real treat. And let's not forget the work that goes into Lena's signature spells, like the visually stunning and apocalyptically destructive Dragon Slave, which is utterly awe-inspiring in its scale, with set pieces that put many modern anime action scenes to shame. In the end, Slayers rightfully deserves its status as one of the most beloved and acclaimed fantasy animes of all time. It managed to masterfully construct an expansive, imaginative world filled with rich lore and a deep integration of magic that still feels unique and wondrous over 25 years later. At the same time, the series is also anchored by a stellar ensemble cast of both lovable and well-developed characters led by the iconic Lena Inverse, a protagonist who is both delightfully chaotic but clever and resourceful in her own right. Her relationships and banter with her allies like Gary, Zelgadis, Amelia, even the frenemy Zealous, make for some of the most hilarious and rewatchable comedic moments in anime history. Slayers also deserves immense praise for how it's able to deftly balance its wacky comedic tone with a surprising level of depth in its overarching narrative storytelling. What starts as a fairly traditional adventure to protect a powerful relic eventually evolves into an epic clash against cataclysmic threats, all woven together with engaging character arcs and high emotional stakes. It's a series that knows exactly when to be absurdist and silly, but also when to get serious and dramatic without it ever feeling jarring. Tying it all together is the series' impeccable production values, with some of the most ambitious and creative action pieces that the fantasy genre has ever witnessed. The blending of swordplay with magical effects is a true visual treat, especially with regards to Lena's signature spells that are animated with astounding scale and detail. In the end, Slayers is simply a must-watch for any anime fan. It blends top-notch world-building, characters, storytelling, comedy, action, and production values into an extremely entertaining and rewatchable package. While many recent fantasy anime have followed in its footsteps, few series can match the sheer delight and magic that was conjured by the adventures of Lena and her crew. It's a true classic that has rightly earned its place in anime history. If you enjoyed Chiptunes and Chapters, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a review and a rating on your favourite podcast platform. It'll help new listeners to find our podcast. Please also make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss future episodes. Speaking of the future, I'm actually excited about the possibilities of podcasting 2.0 and associated apps like the Fountain app. These allow for some awesome interactive features like tipping your favourite shows, getting bonus content, and much more. So I'd actually encourage you to check out Chiptunes and Chapters using a Podcast 2.0 compliant app to get the full experience in the future. But for now, thanks again for listening. I'll be back soon with more anime, manga, and video game retrospectives to feed your nostalgic needs. This is Kuro signing off for Chiptunes and Chapters. Have a great day.